Your air conditioner has been running since breakfast. The vents are blowing, the thermostat is trying, but the hallway still says 76. You set it to 70 hours ago, and somehow the house still feels tired, heavy, and warm. Now here is the part most people never check. Above your ceiling, in a space you may not have climbed into for years, your attic may be hotter than a closed car in a parking lot. On a summer afternoon, that attic considered 130, 140, even higher, and every minute that heat sits above your bedroom, your air conditioner is not just cooling your house, it is fighting the oven over your head. My name is Elijah Freeman. I was not raised Amisha. I became part of the Amish community after marrying my wife, and over the years I learned something her family understood long before I did. A house is not supposed to trap heat. A house is supposed to breathe. My father-in-law used to say, heat is like smoke. I did not understand that at first. I grew up thinking summer comfort came from machines, a bigger air conditioner, more fans, lower thermostat, more money. But the first time I helped my father-in-law work on an old farmhouse attic, I realized I had been looking at the problem backwards. The air conditioner was not the problem, the attic was. Most people think their attic is just storage. Christmas boxes, old clothes, a place you avoid unless something is leaking. But in summer, your attic has one main job. It is supposed to take the heat from the roof and move it back outside before that heat reaches the rooms where you live. If the attic cannot do that, it becomes a furnace. The sun hits the roof. The shingles get hot. The roof deck gets hot. That heat builds in the attic. Then it pushes down into your ceiling, your walls, and your bedrooms. By evening, your roof may no longer be in the sun, but the attic is still holding the heat like a cast iron pan pulled off the stove. That is why some houses feel hot even after sunset. The outside air cooled down, but the house did not. My father-in-law showed me this with no lecture. He took me into an attic on a hot July afternoon and told me to stand still. I lasted maybe 2 minutes. The air was thick. It felt like breathing through a blanket. I looked. I saw almost none. There was a vent there, but it was clogged with dust, old insulation, and a piece of cardboard somebody had shoved near it years before. From the outside, the house looked like it had a vent. From the inside, it could barely breathe. That is the mistake. A lot of houses look ventilated from the outside, but inside the attic, the airflow is blocked. And when airflow is blocked, heat stays. Then your air conditioner pays the price. The first thing my father-in-law taught me was this: do not buy a bigger machine until you check whether the house can breathe. That lesson alone can save people a lot of money, because a bigger air conditioner does not fix a trapped heat problem. It only fights harder, and fighting harder costs more. So here is what I want you to understand. Your attic needs two things: a place for cooler air to come in, and a place for hotter air to leave. That is it. Cooler air usually comes in low, near the edges of the roof. Hot air leaves high, near the peak, through gable vents, ridge vents, or a roof vent. When that path is clear, the attic breathes. When that path is blocked, the attic cooks. My father-in-law called it the difference between a chimney and a sealed box. A chimney moves heat. A sealed box stores it. Most modern attics accidentally become sealed boxes. Not always because someone meant harm. Sometimes insulation gets blown in and covers the vents. Sometimes dust and old screens block the gable openings. Sometimes a previous owner covers a vent thinking he is saving energy. Sometimes a contractor seals too much and never asks where the heat is supposed to go. The result is the same. The roof keeps cooking, the attic keeps trapping, the AC keeps running, and the bill keeps climbing. Now, I want to give you the practical part. This is not something you need to understand for fun. This is something you can check this weekend. Pick a cool morning, not 2 in the afternoon, not when the attic is already dangerous. Early morning, take a flashlight, wear a mask, step carefully only where the framing can support you, and look at your vents from inside the attic. If you have gable vents, they will usually be on the 2 ends of the house. From inside, you should see daylight through them, not a little dusty glow. Clear daylight. If you cannot see daylight, you found found a problem. Dust, paint, wasp nests, old screens, cardboard, insulation, or debris may be blocking the air. Clear it. If the screen is clogged or rusted, replace it with proper mesh, small enough to keep animals and insects out, open enough to let air move. That one job can change how your attic behaves. Then look along the lower edges of the roof, where the roof meets the outside wall. That is where many homes have soffit vents. Those are supposed to let fresh air enter low, but many are blocked by insulation. If the insulation is pushed tight against the roof edge, the air cannot enter. That is like trying to breathe with your nose pinned shut. The fix is simple. You use vent baffles. They are cheap plastic or foam channels that hold the insulation back and leave a clear path for air. You are not removing the insulation. You are giving the air a lane. That is exactly what happens in many attics. The vent is there. The path is not. Once the lower vents are open and the upper vents are clear, the attic can start doing its job again. Hot air rises. That is not a trick. That is not a mush magic. That is just how warm air behaves. But hot air only leaves if it has somewhere to go, and cooler replacement air only enters if it has a path in. That is the whole system. Low intake, high exhaust, clear path between them. Now, there is another thing most people forget. The attic hatch, that square opening in the hallway ceiling, or the pull-down stairs in the garage. That hatch is often one of the leakiest spots in the house. Cool air from your living space rises. If the attic hatch is not sealed, some of that cooled air escapes straight into the attic. Then your attic vents pull it away, so your air conditioner cools the room, and then the house leaks that cooled air into the hottest space above it. That is wasted money. The fix is not fancy. Weather stripping, a simple foam seal. Sometimes a lightweight insulated cover. You are not sealing the attic from breathing. You are sealing the living space from leaking into the attic. That difference matters. The attic should breathe to the outside. Your living room should not leak into the attic. Those are two different things. A lot of people confuse them. My father-in-law never did. He would say, let the roof breathe. That sentence explains half of summer comfort. Let the attic dump heat outside. Stop your cooled air from escaping upward. If you do only 3 things. Do these. First, check that your gable or roof vents are open. Second, make sure your soffit vents are not blocked by insulation. Third, seal the attic hatch. That is the real weekend job. Not buying a new AC. Not dropping the thermostat lower. Not blaming the utility company before checking your own roof. Just helping the house work the way it was supposed to. Now, can you add a fan?
Yes.
A small attic fan can help move hot air out when passive airflow is not enough. Some people use a solar attic fan because it runs hardest when the sun is strongest. That makes sense. When the attic is hottest, the fan has the most power, but I would not start with the fan. Start with the path. A fan pushing against blocked vents is just noise. Open the intake. Clear the exhaust. Then decide whether you need help moving the air. That is the Amish way of thinking. Do the simple thing first. Do not add a machine until the basic design is working. There is also reflective barrier material people put under roof rafters to reduce radiant heat. That can help in some houses, especially in hot, sunny climates. But again, do not let products distract you from the main lesson. If your attic cannot breathe, no shiny roll of material is going to solve the whole problem by itself. The house needs airflow. The heat needs a road out. The cool rooms need to be protected from the hot attic. That is the system. My father-in-law understood this because his family had no choice. When you do not depend on central air, you pay attention to shade, airflow, roof heat, windows, porches, and timing. You notice what makes the house comfortable. You notice what makes it miserable. Modern people often notice the bill first. Old builders notice the cause first. That is the difference. And I am not saying every modern house is bad. I am not saying every contractor is wrong. I am saying many homeowners homeowners are taught to think about cooling as a machine problem when sometimes it is a house problem. If your attic is 140 degrees, your air conditioner is starting every afternoon in a losing position. It may still cool the house, but it has to work harder, longer, more expensively, and eventually that machine wears down. Then someone tells you the answer is a bigger unit. Maybe sometimes it is, but sometimes the answer is a flashlight, a dust mask, a few vent baffles, some mesh, and a strip of weather seal around the attic hatch. That is not glamorous, but it is useful, and useful beats glamorous every time. I have seen people spend thousands trying to fix comfort problems that started with blocked vents. I have seen upstairs bedrooms that would not cool because the attic above them could not breathe. I have seen vents painted shut. I have seen insulation stuffed into the very openings that were supposed to let the roof release heat. And every time I think of my father-in-law saying, "The heat wants to leave." That is the whole lesson. Your attic is not supposed to be a furnace. It is supposed to be a buffer. The roof takes the sun. The attic catches the heat. The vents let it go. When that chain breaks, your living space pays for it. So this weekend, check your attic. Not in the heat of the day. Not carelessly. Be safe. But check it. Look for daylight through your vents. Look for blocked soffits. Look at your attic hatch. Ask one simple question. Can this house breathe? Because if the answer is no, your AC may not be the real problem. It may just be the machine paying for the problem. Now I want to know something. What is the hottest room in your house during summer? And have you ever checked your attic temperature on a hot day? Tell me in the comments. If you find blocked vents, painted vents, old insulation, or anything strange up there, write it down. I read the comments and I want to know what people are finding in real homes across the country, because sometimes the most expensive problems start in the places nobody looks, and sometimes the cheapest fix is not a new machine. It is giving the heat a way out.